Loops in programming are used to repeat things a number of times. And there are two types of loops in Python. We've got while loops and we've got for loops. In this video, we'll learn about while loops. Let's start with a simple Boolean. We will have a variable called isLearning and we will make it equal to true. So at the moment we are learning, so we can type while is_learning, print your learning. So this is our first while loop. What we've got here is the while keyword, and then very much like an if statement, we have a Boolean. And this can be a variable such as isLearning, which is true. It can be a comparison, it can be a number or anything else. Then we have the colon, which just like in the if statement, signals the start of the body. And the body comes underneath that and is always indented with usually 4 spaces. And then we have the print statement. Again, just like the if statement, you can put multiple things in the body as long as they're all indented. And you can unindent a line in order to signal the end of the while loop. I must say at this point that if you just leave it like this, that's totally fine. Python knows that you've reached the end of the file, so that also terminates the while loop. But if you do want to add something else, you can do, as long as it's unindented. Now, what will happen if we run this while loop is something maybe unexpected. The while loop repeats this code in the body for as long as this condition is true. So, for how long will this condition be true? Well, here's the thing. This condition never changes. It's always true because we don't set it to anything else anywhere else. So if we run this, you will see that we're learning a lot. And we maybe don't want to do that. We do want to take a break every now and then. And you'll see that we've printed a lot of these, you're learning, which is good. But what if we only wanted to run this a certain amount of times? Say, until the user told us that they're no longer learning. Well, in order to do that, in order to stop this loop from running at some point, we have to set isLearning to false. So if we do that like this, isLearning equal false, here's what will happen. We will start the loop. isLearning is true, so we will run it at least once. We will print that you're learning, and then we will set isLearning to false. Then we go back to the top, and we will evaluate this again. Now we will check if it's true again. But it's not. It's false, so it will stop. And it will continue from after the while loop onwards. If it were true, it would just repeat over and over as you've seen. But because we set it to false the first time that we run it, it only runs once. Just like that. So what we'll do is instead, we will ask the user whether they're learning. We will say input, are you still learning? And we will run this. So now we'll see that you're learning at least once because isLearning is true initially. And then we ask the user whether they're still learning. Now, what do we have to type here in order to continue the loop? Well, anything will go, such as yes. That is because now isLearning is no longer true. Now isLearning is the string yes that we've typed. And if you remember from our if statements video, this gets passed through the bool function, and it evaluates to true when it's yes. The boolean of yes is true. But if we type an empty string, then the loop ends because we have terminated the loop. So maybe this is not what we want. Maybe what we want is to get some user input, and then say that isLearning is equal to user input equal yes. And what happens here is that first of all, we store the user's input into its own variable. And then we compare it with the string yes. If they are the same, then this will be true. And if they are not the same, then it will be false. And we put that into isLearning. So now, only if we type yes will the loop continue. Otherwise, if we type no, for example, the loop will end. This here is a very common way of doing user menus or running applications where users can repeat something multiple times. Here's an example of one such menu. The first thing we do in this program is we get the user's input and we ask them if they wish to run the program. Then we have our while loop, which checks that the user input variable is equal to yes. If it is, we will start the loop and we print that we're running. Then we ask for the user input again, exactly the same thing. And after that, we will go back to the start of the while loop and we will compare user input, which now has the new value, against yes. If they're still the same, then we run again and we ask again, and so on. This is how you can repeat a piece of code many times until a user tells you to stop. So when would you want to use a while loop? When you want to repeat something an undefined number of times. For example, until a user tells you to stop. You don't know how many times you're going to repeat it. You depend on the user's input. The for loop, on the other hand, will be used to repeat something a defined number of times. Let's learn about that in the next video. For loop is used to repeat something a defined number of times. That is, when you know how many times you want to repeat it. But a for loop in Python has a slightly different way about it than in other programming languages. So if you're coming from a different programming language, this is more like a for each loop. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, let's learn about it. First of all, I will start with a friends list, which has the names of my friends. And then we will create our for loop. What we want to do is we want to print the name of each friend separately into its own lines. So what we'll do is we will do for, that is the keyword that signals that we want to start a for loop, and then we will do friend in friends, print friend. So a few familiar things going on in here. We've got the colon, we've got the indented body of the loop, but we do have something a bit weird going on in this line. Friend in friends. We learned that this was a Boolean comparison earlier on, right? But what is friend? We've not defined this variable anywhere. And here's the thing, this is not a Boolean comparison. What's going on here is you're telling Python to give you a new variable called friend once for every friend. So we're saying friend will be the first element in friends. Then when the loop repeats again, friend will now be the second element in friends. Then friend will be the third element in friends, and so on. This is why it uses also the in keyword, but it means something different than if you use it anywhere else. In the for loop, you've got for, new variable, in list. And then you get one iteration of the loop or one repeat of the loop for every value in that list. Note that instead of lists, you can use tuples, you can use sets or dictionaries here, and that's totally fine. Those are all known as iterables because you can iterate over them. You can use them for exactly this. So this is well and good when you've got a few values and you want to do something to each of them. But if you want to repeat something, say 10 times, you can do something like elements equal 0 to 10. And then you can do for index, which is a new variable. You can call this whatever you want, by the way, in elements, and we will print index. What this is doing is now we're going to repeat this loop 10 times because there are 10 numbers here. So by running this, we will see that we get the numbers 0 to 9 printed out. So we are getting the numbers 0 to 9, but we don't have to print them out. We can print something else, like hello world. And we know that because there are 10 elements here, this loop will run 10 times, and therefore we will get 10 hello worlds. So what I'm trying to say here is that just because you are getting a variable for each element, you don't have to use it for anything. And usually, when you do something like this, where you create a variable but you don't use it inside a loop, we often in Python give it the name of underscore. So we just call it underscore, and that usually signals to other Python programmers that you don't intend on using this variable for anything. You could, if you wanted to, because that's a valid variable name, but this signals that you don't want to. Of course, you can give it any other name you want, and that's fine. I will go back to for index in elements just because I think it's a little bit more readable for you guys. But instead of creating our own list of 10 elements, you can actually just do range 10. And this is pretty much the same thing in that it will also run 10 times. What range is doing behind the scenes, it is creating something similar to that 10 element list. But it comes with a few more powerful things, such as you can do 5, 10 inside range, and this will give you the numbers 5 to 10. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Or you can do something like 2, 20, and 3. And what this does is it gives you the numbers 2 to 19, but only every 3 numbers. So 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17. Now, these are just some of the things you can do with range, and I don't expect you to get much use out of them just now, but it is one of the reasons to use range over creating your own list of 10 elements. As well as shorter, it is also more convenient and more powerful. Imagine you've got a list of dictionaries where each dictionary contains the name and the grade of a student. You could do for student in students, and remember, what we've got here is the for keyword, the student, the new variable that we are creating every iteration, and in students, which is our list or our iterable. We can then get the name of each student by doing student name. Now remember, student is each of the values in the list, so that the first time the loop runs, student will be this dictionary here. The second time it runs, student will be this dictionary here, and then it will be this one, and then this one. So by doing student name, what you're going to do is you're going to get the name key of this dictionary the first time the loop runs, and you're going to put that inside the variable name. The second time the loop runs, you're going to get the name property of this dictionary, and you're going to put that inside this variable. And then you're going to repeat that for this dictionary and this one too. Let's do the same with grade. And finally, let's use them for something. Let's run this, and you'll see that we can print this information much more nicely rather than just printing out a dictionary by using this for loop and saying Rolf has a grade of 90, 78, 180. So when do you want to use a for loop? When you want to repeat something a certain number of times and you know how many that is, or when you want to use each of the values of an iterable, such as a list, tuple, or set, or dictionary, and you want to do something once for each of the values. I hope you've learned something in this video. I know that we're looking at a lot of different bits of Python, and maybe right now you don't quite understand why they are all important. But very soon, everything's going to come together, and we're going to be able to develop very useful programs just with the knowledge that we've got so far. So thanks for sticking with me. Hope you've enjoyed it.